Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. This is live show 1233. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. Yeah, we skew more towards role-playing games than anything else these days. And normally, I will take a first look at a game like we shall be tonight. Every once in a while, I might actually just tackle a topic related to our hobby. And every blue moon, I do the news and just kind of chew the fat with chat. But tonight, we are going to dive on in. We are going to take a first look at the eagerly anticipated Dungeons & Dragons Heroes of the Borderlands Starter Set from Wizards of the Coast. This is arriving in stores a week from today. The embargo has lifted today. So we're going to jump in. We're going to take a peek at this. So I do want to mention, if you're tuning in for the first time, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first around here. So it's probably going to be about 45 minutes before we get into the unboxing and first look. So if you're watching live, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself, put your feet up. I mean, if you got a lot of stuff cooking, you can always come back in about 45 minutes. That is about when we will be diving on in to take that first look. But for the most part, just hang out with us. Why not? Then, should also mention, if you are watching this after the stream is over, maybe even on Memorex, there are timestamps. You can find the timestamps down in the show notes, or depending on the device you might be watching this on, right there in the timeline of the video. So if you want to jump past tabletop gaming news, you certainly can do so. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for our latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube, such as Sammy's review so far of the 2 core books for the Cosmere role-playing game from Brotherwise Games. They're written reviews, that's why you would not find them here on YouTube. And I should also mention, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. That's really the main way I keep the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you have been a subscriber for at least 60 minutes, you want to say howdy, by all means, chime in. I'll do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is our good friend of the show and chat moderator, the Madman. Keith Ull is with us. Sarah D is emerging from the shadows to say hello. She is our other chat moderator. And Agile Monk is with us, as is Otto. And Game Cat Jacob is with us, says hype. What if he's talking about the D&D starter set? J-Man is here, and I think, nope. I was about to say, I think I've said hello to everybody, as Wallona's Cave, Matthew Blackwell, and Chris Lundgren jump on into chat. So welcome, everybody. We have got a big show ahead. So let's dive right on into the news. Now available in print and PDF from Mongoose Publishing is Traveler, Clans of the Aslan, and I've got the latest. The Aslan know no emperor, no moot, no grand fleet, no central government of any kind. Their society is founded upon Aslan families and the intricate interrelationships knitting them together. These families form larger prides, and these prides form even larger clans, over 4,000 in number and bound by common heritage and tradition. And Aslan's allegiance is to their clan lord and the clan that he leads. Explore the inner workings of a clan, learn about the secret warrior schools, see what life inside the Aslan Heriot is really like, insights rarely granted to outsiders. Clans of the Aslan provides tips and ideas on running a campaign set amongst the Aslan, along with new options for creating and playing Aslan travelers. Furthermore, Clans of the Aslan provides rules for creating and running your own clans, as well as descriptions of important clans and worlds drawn from across charted space. This 184-page hardcover with PDF, if you order from Mongoose Publishing, carries an MSRP of $49.99. You can also grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. Sweet. Very cool. Always like to see new Traveler releases. Yes, I do understand. This has been out in PDF probably for about 6 months now, somewhere about 4 to 6 months, but it is now available in print. Chris Lundgren says, Buddy the Cockatiel, as well as his wife Louisa, are hanging out with us tonight. And Buddy is jumping and singing to, I guess he enjoys my voice. So there you go. Agile Monk says they received the Cosmere role-playing game by special delivery today. So Agile Monk is very excited about that. As I mentioned, we already have the 2 core books reviewed by Sammy Uhas over at thegaminggang.com. Trying to remember if she's got the adventure. Isn't it the first steps? I think it's an introductory adventure. I have not followed the Cosmere role-playing game that closely. I have nothing against it. Don't get me wrong. I just didn't get into Mistborn. I haven't gotten into the Stormlight archives. Yeah, plus there's, sad. So Chris Lundgren's correcting my pronunciation of his wife's name. Hey, man, I'm not married to her. I don't have to worry about those things. It's Louisia. Louisia? I was going to say, that's certainly not how it looks like it's spelled. Huh, okay. Or Louisa. Maybe that was it. But there is an IA at the end. All right, let's move on to our next news piece because the Dolanwood campaign book is available for pre-order over at Exalted Funeral. I've got the scoop. Dolmenwood is a weird fairy tale adventure game conjuring the wonder, horror, whimsy, and strangeness of British folklore. This is the complete referee's guide to running campaigns in the beguiling realm of Dolmenwood. This is the second of 3 core books, so you also need the player's book and the monster book. This book includes mysterious lore of the Standing Stones, ley lines, lost shrines, fairy roads, wood gods, fairy nobles, and ancient history. There are 7 major factions: the Chaos Godling Antunue, the Wicked Fairy Cold Prince, the Sorceress Droon, the Human Nobility, the Bregel Nobility, the Pluritine Church, and the Enigmatic Witches. There are 12 settlements detailed with beautiful maps, major sites, and important NPCs, as well as expanded procedures for weather, getting lost, encountering monsters, fishing, foraging, and hunting. 200 pages of fantastic locations waiting to be explored. Hundreds of magical artifacts, from enchanted oddments to magical fungi to holy relics. Easy to reference presentation designed to minimize prep time and page flipping, as well as a starter adventure to get you right into the action. This does contain adult themes and elements of horror, so it may not be suitable for children. The 464-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $60. It is available through Exalted Funeral here in North America. It is supposed to ship sometime this fall, maybe winter. So we actually have a little bit of lights at the end of the tunnel here. Of course, the PDF is available now over at DriveThruRPG for $30. And I will say, I am really looking forward to this. I do believe our friends over at Exalted Funeral will be sending these books along for review when they're available. So Agile Monk says you can order them, but you can't seem to. Is it can't seem to? Oh, can't get it shipped. Correct. Right. That's why they continue to say this is a pre-order. But at least now Exalted Funeral is taking orders, and they do have they have an idea of when these are actually going to ship. Otto is with us in chat. Welcome aboard. Said they got the Exodus role-playing game books today from Archetype. I'm not familiar with Exodus, although it does ring a bell. Says it looks really, oh, that's right. It is from Wizards of the Coast. I think it's a science fiction role-playing game, if I remember correctly. It's not really something they've been promoting, though, strangely enough. On our next news piece, Paizo has once again teamed with Humble Bundle for a Pathfinder primer. It is a pretty rocking offer, and I've got the deets on the deal. Forge your own high fantasy adventures. A world of adventure and danger awaits, and the only thing missing is your heroism. Gather your party of trusty companions for countless quests with the latest Pathfinder bundle from Paizo Inc. Mix up your fun with the hottest Pathfinder tabletop role-playing game campaigns and expansions, like Pathfinder 2nd Edition's Beginner Box, Remastered Edition, Pathfinder Player Core, Sky King's Tomb Player's Guide, and more. Get everything you need to embark on an epic high fantasy journey together and help support Take This with your purchase. If you make a donation of $45 or more, you will receive all 28 items which are included in this offer, including the Pathfinder Monster Core with the sketch cover in hardcover. If you want to donate $30 or more, you can receive all 37 PDFs, which are on offer. Although, strangely enough, they mentioned the Sky King's Tomb Player's Guide. That would be a free PDF. Like, okay, all the player's guides to adventure paths and stuff, normally free. So it's kind of like, I don't know why you included that one. Regardless, it's a pretty rocking deal. We talk about this all the time. People, and I get where they're coming from, right? Core books are expensive. Role-playing books are getting more and more expensive. A lot of people feel they're getting priced out of the hobby. This is one of the ways that you get a ton of content without having to spend much money at all. In fact, you can get all 27 PDFs for about half the price of the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Player's Core, or I should say Player Core. It's not plural, and it's not possessive, which is like, what, $69.99 now? $59.99, something like that. So this is a smoking deal. We normally will see Paizo Inc. do a Humble Bundle that rocks out like this 3 to 4 times a year. Now, this is only Pathfinder. There is no Starfinder in it, but still, if you are interested in ever checking out Pathfinder, this is the way to do it. You can actually take advantage for as little as $5, which will get you the beginner box, which is a pretty good starter set. Starter sets are a theme tonight, actually kind of a theme this week. I only need one more starter set, and we could have been looking at starter sets every night. But that is not the case. Let's move on to our next news piece, because the 50th issue of the old school themed D12 magazine has arrived. And I've got the latest from Yum DM. Issue 50 of my Dungeons and Dragons zine, D12 Monthly, is out. This one goes back to my role-playing roots, back to when I didn't have anyone who I knew who played tabletop role-playing games. Issue 50 is the solo campaign issue. It features articles on how to create a solo campaign, running a solo campaign, creating a home base, a simple and complete dungeon generation system, additional rules for solitaire games, and much more. The feature articles include Let There Be Light, a guide to let you know what you need to know and to do to get started, and questions for you to understand how the campaign will be defined. At the beginning, this article is all about the basics you need in order to create a successful solo campaign. Included are 4 D100 word tables you can use to spark your creativity. A bit more to it. Now that you've started, this article covers how to keep that campaign going. Build it, and they'll come. This is all about creating a home base for your characters, complete with random tables. And then we've got Deep Down, an article which covers randomly creating your dungeon as you explore. This is pretty much how the author generates their dungeons. And we've got a helping hand. It's a list of few rules, which are found handy when running a solo game or a campaign. Talk. One of the most difficult parts of solo role-playing are these social interactions. In this article, you'll find out ways in which you can handle those interactions. And there is also the rear view mirror, a list of past issues of D12 Monthly that might help you run a solitaire campaign. Keep in mind, there's a new issue of D12 out at the beginning of each month. You can right now score the 28-page zine in PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Not too shabby. I can't believe they're at 50 issues. And for the most part, I do believe it is Yum DM who fills out these issues. I don't believe there's a lot of contributors. So we shall see. All right, Spelling Mistake and Raphael Mores there's 2 of them. It's plural, Jeff, joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. W. Forge says the one thing they don't necessarily like about the Humble Bundle Pathfinder deals is that you get the PDFs from Paizo and not DriveThruRPG. Yeah. But you got to keep in mind, Paizo's not, most of their stuff is not on DriveThruRPG. So there isn't even an option out there if Humble Bundle wanted to do that. Can't be done. All right, let's talk about our final news piece, because there is a new Castles and Crusades adventure, which is available in print and PDF from Troll Lord Games. And I got the lowdown on Winter's Bite. Something haunts the river folk. It steals into homes and snatches the unwary, the weak, and the gentile. Genteel, Jeff. Man, what is up with me tonight? Cracking up. Yes, it's a Jewish monster that's going, taking all the Gentiles out of their homes. Yep. Maybe I should have read this ahead of time. Oh, well. Yes, we're talking about the genteel. For those whom the horror does not abduct, death comes swiftly. Those slain by the monster are found strangely maimed with bloody gums devoid of teeth. Ugh. An apparition? Some fiend of the old world? A black-hearted fae? Few can tell, for few have seen it, and those who have speak only of its pockmarked skin and crown of teeth. Well, now we know where those teeth are going. The river people hide now. They seal their doors with wax every night, stamped with magical runes, in hope of keeping the haunt at bay. The long winter is made longer still, and more evil given over to the winter's bite. This is an adventure designed for 3 to 5 third-level Castles and Crusades characters. The 20-page softcover carries an MSRP of $10.99. If you want to grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG, you can do so for $6.99. And I will say, I did get a package on Friday from our friends over at Troll Lord Games, and it does include Winter's Bite, as well as the item we'll be taking a first look at on tomorrow night's show. Very nice. All right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I did mention DriveThruRPG a few times this evening. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Wargame Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. If you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple of other ways that you can support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Ooh, that's good. No, that's good Diet Cola. Or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon, and I like to give our Patreon members a shout out on every episode of the live stream. So big thank you to Gustavo Cavallo, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Talzek, Matt W., Dan Webb, Game Cat, Peace Tracklich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and the Madman. Agile Monk says Jeff's losing it. Losing it? I lost it a long time ago. Long time ago. Yep. Don't make me start breaking into singing American Pie. Max Apocalypse has joined us, as has Roger Perdome. Mike is asking, is it Tales of Argosa on Drive-Thru Deal of the Day a good one? Is it worth it? I got to be honest, I don't know what the deal of the day is. I mean, I know what it is. I don't know what the special deal for Tales of Argosa happens to be. You know what? Tell you what. See if I can pull it up real quickly here. $10? Hell yeah. That is a good deal. Tales of Argosa is excellent. If you're looking for an old school styled fantasy role-playing game that's got more of a sword and sorcery feel to the proceedings, can't go wrong. There is so much cool stuff packed into Tales of Argosa. I've reviewed it, so you might want to take a peek at that review. But yes, if I remember correctly, somewhere between a 9 and a 10 is what I scored it. Rafael Mores says, yeah, they love Tales of Argosa too. Sure, it's worth it. Yep, I agree. I most certainly agree. So tonight, we're going to dive on in. We are going to crack open the new Dungeons & Dragons Heroes of the Borderlands Starter Set. But Before we do that, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Visit our snack bar and treat yourself to some delicious Castleberry's pit-cooked barbecue sandwiches. Cooked the Castleberry way, slowly over open pits of glowing charcoal, then seasoned with a sauce that's zesty, yet delightfully mild to please the entire family. Also at the snack bar, you'll find popcorn and soft drinks and candy and French fries to go with your Castleberry's barbecue sandwiches. There's plenty of time before the movie starts, so visit our snack bar right now for Castleberry's pit-cooked barbecue sandwiches.
I float through the air with the greatest of ease, with or without the flying trapeze. My act is so great gravity I defy, 'cause I drink T-O-D-D-Y.
Yes, toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
Get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Mmm, delicious.
Your dungeon master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position. You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created. Your skin grows cold from your first glimpse of the enormous beast. It's a product of your imagination. Survival depends on a quick, decisive move. Your choices are limited. Stand and fight, or run. Use your lightning bolt. Victory is yours.
Win the treasure.
TSR Hobbies, Dungeons & Dragons game. Products of your imagination.
Rock-a-bye, baby, in your cradle so fluffy. I can sleep, too, 'cause I drink Wilkins decaffeinated coffee.
Listen now of a time long past, when sorcery thrived, and wild adventure was forever in the offing. A deadly sorcerer is called out of nightmare by a ruthless king driven into evil. And a mystical sword is forged for a mighty warrior who rises out of legend to topple a kingdom. The Sword and the Sorcerer.
I myself raised Zusha from the dead. Little did I know what I let loose upon the world. Tell us where he is and save us all. You want me to snatch your brother from the king's dungeons for one night with you? That's a slim bounty for such a task.
Why, you bastard.
Time. One man will control the entire civilized world.
Cromwell's power, Cromwell's pride, and Cromwell's flesh. Tell me why!
A titanic struggle between good and evil that determines the fate of an entire dynasty. Dungeons and Dragons, serpents and splendor, wizards and witches, danger and desire. And the mightiest of all heroes, in the greatest of all adventures.
Yes, I recall. Hey, what the hell was it jumping over to that already? I recall seeing Sword and the Sorcerer, and I hated that effing sword. I really fucking did. I was like, yeah, this movie's all right. Yeah, it's okay. I forget who I went and saw it with. Maybe it was Elliot, maybe, or one of my other friends in high school. Remember going and seeing it at the theater, and the three-bladed sword was like, what? And then when it fired off one of the blades, I was like, oh, for God's sake. So there's some discussion about I believe the monster is sorcerer. I think it's Richard Mall. If I remember right, I think it's Richard Mall. Could be wrong. I don't know. So yes, and then we got, of course, an original Dungeons and Dragons television commercial from the early 1980s. Kind of cool. Kind of cool. W. Ford says, always liked Dragon Slayer. Yeah, that was surprisingly decent. And it's kind of funny because if I remember correctly, the actor who's like the hero is kind of wimpy. So like, oh, okay. All right. Chris Lundgren's a Beastmaster fan. Never saw it. Remember, we talked about this when I shared the trailer for that not too long ago. All right. So tonight, we're going to dive on in. We're going to unbox and take a first look at the eagerly anticipated Dungeons and Dragons starter set. It is Heroes of the Borderlands. Although I think, it's kind of funny. I've seen it multiple ways as far as the title. I've also seen the title Dungeons and Dragons Heroes of the Borderlands Starter Set. Now, it is from Wizards of the Coast. This box set's going to carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it arrives in stores a week from today, September 16th. Right now, you can also get the Ultimate Bundle, which will get you the physical box as well as the D&D Beyond digital assets for $54.99. So essentially, you're getting the D&D Beyond stuff for $5. At least that's the pricing I saw. I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the pricing is just for the digital. I don't even know. Well, I would think it would be available by itself. Might not be. Might not be it. Chris Lindgren says, you call yourself a grown-yard Jeff and you haven't seen the classic Beastmaster? I'm lying. I've seen it. I saw it once. I didn't think much of it. See, I was just testing you folks to see if you remembered, because many of you who were hanging out here in chat, Keith Lewis said, got to go with Hawk the Slayer. I was going to share that because I've been kind of trying to jump ahead and put together all of my, well, not all of them, but a few of the brief intermissions ahead of time. Sadly, Hawk the Slayer cannot be shared on this show because of copyright. Womp, womp, womp. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Heroes of the Borderlands. And I got to say, this is a big box. And it's heavy, too. Let's get rid of some of the shrink wrap here. We have talked a little bit about this on the show when we shared some news. And you might recall I went to the press party or press event, I guess we'll say, for Wizards of the Coast prior to Gen Con. We heard a little bit about the starter set. We heard a little bit about the Faerun books. that are on the horizon too. And one thing that threw me off is the way that this is sort of being presented like it's a board game. In fact, some of the sell sheet info that was floating around out there did actually refer to this as a board game, which we know it's not. It's a starter set to the role-playing game. But I think it's being presented to appeal to board gamers to maybe have them give this a shot. Let's see what we've got on the back here. An open and play entry into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Heroes of the Borderlands is a cooperative fantasy adventure for all skill levels. In each game, one player acts as dungeon master, while others act as heroes in an ever-evolving story. Together, you delve into monster-filled caves, explore untamed forests, and determine the fate of the Borderlands. Wait, no dungeons? Set up and play in minutes with a quick start guide and intuitive learn-as-you-play components. Go on epic adventures with 3 adventure booklets that provide dozens of encounters involving combat, social interaction, and exploration. Choose your way to play with open-ended encounters. Do you fight the goblin, try to reason with it, or sneak past it undetected? If it's a single goblin, crush it. Just a goblin. Come on. All in one box includes dice, tokens, large maps, and cards for magic items, monsters, and more. I also understand that they have sort of like player boards that you place cards on. Kind of interesting. A little bit of a Daggerheart feel to those proceedings there. So let's open this up. It's also important for me to point out Wizards of the Coast does not like unobscured views of the contents of their books and such. So we are probably going to look at fewer pages than I normally would with a role-playing game release. I am also going to make sure that I plop my hands on top of things because it's not unusual for Wizards of the Coast to send out takedowns for videos that share too much of their content. So just pointing that out. So here we've got a quick start guide telling us what's in the box. Talking about it's an ongoing game. There's actually a quick start video. So we've got a code there. Choosing your role, getting started. There's our class board. Then it's showing us our components. All right. So first thing, we have our play guide. Let's take a peek. Welcome to adventure. Where's our credits page? Oh, there we go. Right there. Hey, look at that. Yes. The keep on the Borderlands, which we knew this was going to be a takeoff on. Because I think one of the booklets is Caves of Chaos. Dungeons and Dragons is a cooperative game in which a group plays together to tell fun and exciting fantasy stories, facilitated by a player who assumes the role of Dungeon Master, or DM. Imagination and chance determine the fate of the player's characters and their adventures. So it's going to talk about using this guide, harnessing your imagination, which sadly enough, I think is lacking in many people nowadays. We've talked about that in the past. So we've got some background cards. So it's an overview of some of our components here. Magic item cards, monster cards. That's cool. Artwork looks pretty good. I know, yeah, some of the art that we've seen recently for D&D is kind of like, I thought the game is about fighting monsters and going on exciting adventures, not hanging around making hot cross buns. Chris Lungert says his wife, who nobody knows how to pronounce her name, is eager to see this. 5.5 is not a bad system. You mean new, not new, new Dungeons and Dragons? because Chris owns it, but it's still not Osric. Well, nothing's Osric except for Advanced D&D. Okay, so these are going to give us the rules. I will point out the previous starter sets from Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons and Dragons, outside of that god-awful Stranger Things, which I am sorry, that was just utter trash. Plus, that Demogorgon miniature was made out of like a rubbery plastic that absolutely stunk. It was like, what the hell? Okay, so we'll take that out of the equation. The other starter sets that have been released over the years from Wizards of the Coast for 5e were actually really well done. They really were. Russell Higgins is with us in chat. Good to see Russell again. Max Apocalypse says species cards, good thing they stopped using race. All right. So this is going to give us just little bite-sized chunks of the rules here. Damage and healing, injury and death are frequent threats in D&D. They better be. And Mike says, oh, but magical weight loss donuts. Hit points represent durability and the will to live. What, they're not meat points? Come on. Creatures with more hit points are more difficult to kill. Your hit point maximum is the number of hit points you have when uninjured. Your current hit points can be any number from that maximum down to 0, which is the lowest hit points can go. Whenever you take damage, subtract it from your hit points. Hit point loss has no effect on your capabilities until you reach 0 hit points. Bam, bam, bam. Keith Lewis says death isn't a threat in 5.5. Yeah, we talk about that. We talk about that quite often. So Max Apocalypse says weight loss donuts, Dozempic. So we have combat and damage example. What is Shazam hanging out playing? Looks like, I think this is a glossary. Yes, right there, rules glossary. Cone, cover, D20 test, damage, dead. I'll tell you what, I got to be honest, they are really packing in some solid amounts of rules here in just a short number of pages, really. So, of course, you know, I'm going to have a review of this starter set. I will try to have my review done before it hits stores. I always try to do that for you so you know whether or not it's worth picking up. There is quite a lot to the glossary. It really does look like the vast majority of the rules of the game are being covered just in this short book. Now we have another credits page. I wonder if this is the credits page for the entire box set. Possibly could be. All right. So that is our play guide. Next up is our Wilderness Adventure booklet. You know, I have to ask, what's with the dragon folk? It's like something that I see a lot of D&D artwork focused on dragon folk now. Yeah. I mean, as far as species go, I mean, I guess they're fine, but lay out the wilderness map for the players to see. This player-focused map doesn't reveal the contents of each wilderness region, only the general geographic features. The Caves of Chaos and the Keep on the Borderlands aren't labeled on this map, so the players don't confuse them with wilderness regions. Then we get a little bit of read aloud. Then we have a wilderness region table. So we have trails, woods, fens, and Terramax stand with giant spiders. Yeah. Kevin R. Smith is with us in chat, says the game has dragon in the title, so I guess they feel obliged to use Dragonborn on everything. It's just something that I've noticed. It used to be every once in a while you'd see, character in some Dungeons and Dragons art that, was Dragonkin or Dragonborn, whatever. Now it's like constant. It's like, really? Okay. I mean, I'll be very honest. I don't have any desire to play that sort of character. I don't know. Chris Leonard's asking, where can you buy this starter set? I don't know. I guess Chris wasn't paying attention, was he? Because I've actually mentioned twice so far in this video about when this is available. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so it looks like these are encounters. It looks like it's listing some encounters, and it's giving us some of the maps here. So we have a flock of sturges. Chris Leonard says, sorry, Jeff. See, it pays to pay attention. This isn't out yet. This arrives in stores next week, a week from today. And yes, my assumption would be it'll be at Barnes & Noble. I think somebody had asked, what is the paper stock like? Get ready for it. It is actually really nice. Okay, granted, it's not Free League Publishing paper stock. The only paper stock out there that's Free League Publishing is Free League Publishing. Russell Higgins says, flock of sturges. They did that 80s song. And I ran so far away. That's the sturges singing it, not flock of seagulls. So here we've got some. Hey, well, it's a heron. It's not a seagull, but it's still a bird. Max Apocalypse says Dragon Barnes and Gnomeable. But yes, the paper is nice. The paper stock's actually thicker than what we would get in the old 5e books. I got to be honest. I think the thinnest paper stock in role-playing game books that I encountered was in the 5e books. But Kevin R. Smith says you can get the Middle-earth role-playing starter set there at Barnes & Noble. Says now if Free League could get distribution for their other games, well, now it's going to be kind of a crapshoot for a little bit because of that Diamond distributor fiasco. But so let's see. This is our keep on the Borderlands. I like that artwork. That's pretty cool. I was looking to see if we had a credit page up front, but we don't. So it's going to give us our locations. I will say I like the fact that there is a nod to the original AD&D. Well, no, I should take that back. D&D, because it's not advanced D&D. B1 is for. It's for Dungeons and Dragons. To keep on the Borderlands. So I like the fact that we're getting the nod to it. Now I'm curious if we're sticking in Greyhawk for this. Otto says, not going to lie, I consider this to be my last Wizards of the Coast direct product after the 2024 core books. Looks great and an awesome option for any game night. I got to say, I'm impressed with what we've seen so far. $50 for a starter set is a bit pricey for starter sets as far as those go, but the box is far larger than any other starter set, and we are seeing quite a bit inside this. So this is going to give us, see, okay. This is what I'm talking about where it's kind of like, is that really Dungeons and Dragons art? I mean, it's nice artwork. Don't get me wrong. It's a pleasant image. It doesn't scream D&D to me. It's like, yeah. So Matthew O. Blackwell is thanking me for bringing up Flock of Seagulls. Hey, I aim to please, folks. Said they had managed to forget them. Thanks for the painful reminder of 80s synth pop. I didn't mind it. It was okay. There is some discussion of the Goodman Games Original Adventures Reincarnated edition of Keep on the Borderlands. I have that. I've reviewed that. We've got private apartments, trader shop, the bank. So we also seem to get, let's take a look at a breakdown of one of these locales. So the bank as an example. So we've got our NPC cards. So this is telling us what NPC cards we need, if there's a handout, if there's a piece of equipment from the equipment deck. It's giving us a breakdown of what the bank is. It keeps residents and visitors store their most valuable belongings and savings in the bank. When the characters arrive at the bank, read the following box text aloud. This one-story bank sports a teller's window with a drop-down counter. A bespectacled halfling woman in a silk tabard sits behind the glass. Outside, a bored human guard stands watch. The banker, Quink, relies on the keep soldiers for protection. Yvette is stationed here most days to discourage anyone from hassling Quink. Tells us about the bank features, bank services. There's a quest, the bank job. At the service counter, Quink asks the characters if they're adventurers looking for work. They say yes. She leans in close and speaks to them in hushed tones. Read the following box text aloud. Yvette here is a lousy guard. There was a break-in recently on her watch, and the burglar got away. I fear the culprit might attempt another break-in, and I'd like you to prevent the heist. Quietly, I can pay you a lump sum of 20 gold pieces for your services. What do you say? Troy Cornelson's joining us in chat. J-Man says, would be great if they followed the original box set release formats. Basic, expert, companion, masters. Isn't I immortal? Troy Cornelson says, not to give my age away, but I remember playing the original version of Keep It the Borderlands in the 70s. Chris Lundgren says, damn you, Wizards of the Coast. You so far look like you finally made a good starter set in Greyhawk. I have not noticed anything mentioning Greyhawk, but of course, we're not taking a look at every page either. So this is just providing us with the home base for our player characters, the keep on the Borderlands. Oh, did we have credits here? Nope. No credits in this book. I guess that one page that I looked at with the credits is the credits for the entire release, I guess. Here are the Caves of Chaos. So here's something, at least in my opinion. I always thought the Caves of Chaos in Keep on the Borderlands made absolutely zero sense. There is no ecology whatsoever to the Caves of Chaos. Has that been fixed? Will they make sense? I don't know. I don't know. We're going to find out. So yes, Kevin R. Smith says, yes, I was immortal. Rules for playing godlike beings after you got to 36th level. Dan Vince is joining us, asking, how does this stack up to Goodman's conversion? Well, I'll tell you what, it's looking impressive so far. Let's take a look at the opening here. Beyond the Keep on the Borderlands hide the Caves of Chaos, a network of monster-infested caves whereby a wicked cult lurks. Danger awaits foolhardy adventurers who enter the caves, but so do treasure and glory. This book is for Dungeon Master's eyes only. Unless text appears in a read aloud box like the one below, don't read it to the players. That would be funny. That would be kind of funny. All right, everybody. I'm the Dungeon Master. I'm going to read all this to you. Man, that would not be a fun game. So it's giving us our caves. So we got a Kobold lair, Mephit lair, Nothic mare, goblins, ogre, hobgoblin, the shunned cave, bugbear lair. Nah, it's looking like it's the same as before. They have not addressed. Well, okay. No, they really haven't addressed the fact that it makes absolutely no sense how these monsters are just all in this one area. And at least in the Keep on the Borderlands, they really don't have any interaction with each other, if I remember correctly. Kevin King's with us wondering if the Mad Hermit survived on the outskirts. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe not tonight, but we will find out. If you are tuning in late, I will have a review of the Heroes of the Borderlands Starter Set for Dungeons & Dragons prior to it arriving in stores a week from today. So I would say probably Monday. Reason why I say Monday is usually if I share videos on the weekends, they don't get the kind of views as videos I share during the week. So we've got our Nothic layer. I notice the art style for our cartography has a little more of like a comic book look to it. I actually like that. I think that's pretty cool. Sometimes we'll see D&D releases that have pretty sweet cartography as far as our like dungeon maps and things like that. And other times kind of lacking, kind of bland, but these look pretty good. These look pretty nice. It's also showing where our tokens will go. So I'm going to guess we've got a map of the Nothic layer. We've got the ogre layer. Let's give us some information about the ogre layer. An ogre mercenary named Ogdug recently formed an alliance with the red dragon Wormling, who aims to rule the Caves of Chaos. The dragon, Cindertooth, serves Ogdug as an attack dog and companion for now. Cindertooth tolerates Ogdug so long as the ogre supplies him with gold and spoils for his growing hoard. Player characters might hire the ogre for a short time. You can add monsters to the cave to make this scenario longer and more difficult. One or more goblin warriors or kobold warriors might be here soliciting the ogre's services. Conversely, you can remove the red drag wormling to make the scenario easier and shorter. Cindertooth might be away when the characters first explore this cave. Russell Higgins says they're an ogre and they wouldn't be caught dead in a cave like that. Kevin King says, guess they noticed Paizo was putting out better maps. Dan Vince says the monsters in the OG caves can interact with each other, but the GM does have to ad-lib a bit. Oh, of course they can interact. They just don't seem to have much natural affinity, I guess I would say. So here's our shunned cave. Or shunned caves. Here it's plural, here it's singular. The Minotaur's lair. I would guess this starter set probably will take the player characters up to 3rd level. That's my stab in the dark. Here's the Shrine of Evil Chaos. Dun, dun, dun. W4 asks, does the ogre have a donkey familiar? I don't think so. All right. I think that's the finale to the Caves of Chaos. As you can see, these are saddle-stitched books. Now it looks like we've got a bunch of handouts and things like that. So, start pulling some of this stuff out here. Oh, I see the character class board. All right, so here's some handouts. The provisioner. Sacred services. Come and get your sacred services here. Frosty malts. Frosty malts are good for you. We have flask of holy water, healing, revival. That's pretty cheap for a revival. 2,000 gold pieces. Although I know 5e and now the new Dungeons and Dragons, they don't have as much as far as the like gold, right? You're not getting 10,000 gold pieces in a treasure as a second level character. All right, so here we've got our maps. So they are dual-sided. Good size. This is 2x4 panels. This is Cave A. Are they going to give us letters on the caves? Yes. Cool. So as opposed to saying, oh, this is the ogre cave, it's going to be, oh, this is Cave B. All right. And decent paper. It is treated. So should hold up okay. So let's see. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we get a map of the keep as well. Here we've got some encounter maps. These are smaller. Next Apocalypse says, yeah, there's more of a pen and ink look to the map art, which feels more organic and old school. So these are the fens. This is Tamarack Stand. And then we have another of the wilderness maps. Dual sides. And then we have the keep. And then, oh, look at this. Here is a breakdown of our Caves of Chaos. What do we got on the back? Cave E. I think that is the Ogre Cave. But we get that too. Laying that all out. Okay. Here's the map of the keep. And it is keyed for the players. Right here. And then this is the wilderness. Yep, that's what I thought. So here's the wilderness. There's the keep. All right. We still have plenty of stuff in this box. Yeah. We got an insert here. We've got a combat tracker, which is a pad of sheets there. Is this just cardboard? Yep. And then more cards. I think these are monster cards. Bunch of dice, and it looks as if we have multiple 6-sided dice. We do. We've got 4 6s. I talk about that all the time. If you want a complete set of polyhedral dice, you need to have 4 6-sided dice. The companies out there that are producing the sets of dice that only have the 3 6 or 1, I should say 1 6-sided die is like, hey, come on. All right, so here is our cleric And it looks like this is a pre-gen because we already have our ability modifiers. Strength +2, Constitution 0, Wisdom +3, Dexterity -1, Intelligence +1, Charisma +2. I got a lot of positive benefits there. So their initiative is -1 because of their dexterity. Armor class, so equipment cards would go there. These are simple weapons, so the weapon attack, or weapon card, I should say, would go there. Looks like spell cards go there. Talking about our cleric class features. So we got spell casting. Russell Higgins says, go buy a game of Yahtzee. Or buy your sets of dice from companies that include 4 to 6-sided dice in their sets. So that was first level. Now we get second level. And then we have third level. And they are a life domain cleric. So these are both level 3 on these. That's kind of interesting. They are just paper, so they are not card stock. Chris Lundgren says, they should have put this out during the 50th anniversary. I am willing to admit this looks pretty good. Kevin King says, they're liking the maps and how many are included. W4 says, let's start a petition to call this version of the game the new, not new, new edition of D&D. Yeah, well, because that's what I call it. I don't think we got a couple of D20s in here, though. We did. We did get 2 D20s. I would have thought one would have been a different color, but yeah, so there are 11 dice. Pretty nice. They look like, well, you know what? Why don't I open them up? They have a little bit of a frosted finish to them. Pretty solid, standard plastic dice. They're not Chessex, so they're not like perfectly weighted or anything like that. So we have the cleric, we've got the fighter, we've got the rogue, and we will have the wizard. So those are our character class boards. We have gold piece tokens. We've got denominations of 1, 5, 25. Dual-sided. We got some monster tokens. In fact, we have got 2 punch boards of monster tokens here. And they are dual-sided. And we have letter designations for these as well on one side. As you can see here, we've got A and B, but then there's no letter on those. Decent thickness on these. We've got our player tokens. So these are standees. So we have the little stands. Obviously enough, if you have plastic stands, I would certainly utilize those instead of these little stands here. Because they, at least in my experience, they tear the hell out of the standees. So we got a spider web, a cart, a pit, a log. We got some other terrain tokens here. Bones, power tokens, hit point tokens. So we are seeing some wrinkles to this where it looks more like a board game, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you your hit point tokens for your character. Then as you lose hit points, give me your, yeah, I see how this is working. And then we've got just a piece of white card stock So finally, we've got the different cards. Pretty large decks of cards here, too. And then we had these monster cards. Of course, here's our combat tracker. So we've got initiative, combatant, hit points, conditions. Got death saves up here. So it is showing for our cleric, fighter, rogue, and wizard. So it looks like we've got cards for the backgrounds. This is an interesting concept. Okay, so we've got... Oops. Okay. We got backgrounds here. We got acolyte, entertainer, farmer, guide, hermit, sage, soldier. Then it's going to give us information about that background. Then for each of the species, it looks like we have male and female. So we've got the dwarf, the elf, halfling, human. So those are the available species to us. We've got some magic items, +1 mace. Gives us a breakdown there. Plate armor, short sword. Well, I've got quite a few magic items here. Then we get into some spells. Shazama85 is with us tonight. Says they're going to buy it and combine it with Hackmaster Little Keep on the Borderland, as well as Original Adventures Reincarnated into the Borderlands and Return to Keep on the Borderlands. Kevin R. Smith wondering when this comes out and hits Barnes & Noble, is it going to be in the role-playing game section or the board game section? I would hope it would be in the role-playing game section, because that would not be too cool. Because yes, I know it's kind of being promoted with the trappings of board games, but it is still a role-playing game. Yes, we're looking at all the different spells here. Some of these will have duplicates too. Ray of Frost as an example, which is a cantrip. Oh, actually, for a second, I thought we had 3. We have 2. I will say there are a lot of spells in here too. So as we already saw, this is designed to go up to 3rd level with our player characters. Come on. Get into that. For some reason, I didn't want to get into that insert. Max Blogloop says, we've innovated all the way back to the beginning. We've gone full circle. Okay, so here we've got some NPC cards. Got equipment. Of course, these NPC cards are going to be more for the Game Master, the Dungeon Master. Borderlands Tabard, Cultist's Robe, Healer's Kit, Leather Armor. It gives us a little information about it. But right on the front, it's telling us, what does this do? So here we see Leather Armor is going to provide armor class 11, and then you're going to add your dexterity modifier. Longsword, slashing damage, D20 plus strength. It's going to tell us the damage on that. Yep. Versatile, 1d10. We've got the mace. Potion of healing. Probably have a few of those. Rope. 50 feet of rope. Where's our 10-foot pole? Got our spell book. And then, of course, you would utilize your class board to lay your cards. So you would have your equipment cards, your weapon card, spell cards, all those. All right, so we've got these. And then finally, we've got what I'm guessing are the monster cards. It's like we also have a bit of a player aid for combat. We're going to have multiple. Yep, we sure do. So we have 4. So sure, Dungeon Master doesn't get one, only the players. So it talks about on your turn in combat, and then actions you can take: attack, dash, disengage, dodge, help, hide, influence, magic, ready, search, study, and utilize. So here we go. There's our monsters. These are about Chero size. So animated flying sword, bandit, bugbear warrior, a curate, goblin warrior. I will guess that all of these are not in these adventures. So it looks like we are getting some additional monsters here. I wonder if there's going to be a deck for the monster manual. Man says they've got a couple sets of spell cards and edge cards for Savage Worlds. They hand them out to the players that would need them for reference. They use the cards instead of looking it up in the book. Flint Fireforge has joined us. Good to see you, Flint. There's a Steam Mephit. The Sturge. I got to say, Monster Art's pretty solid. Pretty solid artwork there. The White Life Drinker. So it's going to give us the information about it on the back. Armor class, initiative bonus, hit points, traits, actions. Does give us a breakdown on all 6 of the attribute bonuses there. Got the zombie. I have to say, for $49.99, this is looking really, really solid, folks. No joke. All right, so we've got the monster cards. We've got the combat tracker. We've got all of these NPC cards and equipment cards. I'm going to put these onto the other stack here. I think it'll fit. Yep, it does. Oh, forgot to put these in. I might as well put those separate. So we've got our 11 dice. We have a bunch of punch boards with tokens and terrain pieces, hit point tokens. Got all of that. We've got our 4 classes with 2 class boards or mats, I guess I would say, going from level 1 through level 3. We've got all of these different maps. We've got some handouts. We have the Caves of Chaos, the Keep on the Borderlands, and the Wilderness adventure booklets. We have our play guide, which actually really did seem like it was packed with the rules of this latest D&D. Then we got a little quick start guide. And that is what we find inside the Dungeons and Dragons Heroes of the Borderlands Starter Set from Wizards of the Coast. Once again, this is arriving in stores a week from today, September 16th. Does carry an MSRP of $49.99. Last I looked, the D&D Beyond Digital Ultimate Bundle they have includes the box set as well as digital assets for $54.99. All right. And of course, as I mentioned, I will have a review of this starter set in a not too distant future. In fact, I will do my absolute best to have a review for you prior to it going on sale in retail. Kathy Evans is hanging with us in chat. I see Mark Hawkswell is also with us. Max Apocalypse says there's some serious creative effort on display here. Pleasantly surprising. Yeah, we will see. We will find out. As I had mentioned when we went to the pre-Gen Con Dungeons and Dragons press event, everybody who was up on stage was brand new. They were not folks that we had seen in previous years or anything like that. So it is a new day with Wizards of the Coast. Keep in mind, they've got a new CEO as well. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So stay tuned. And I will have a review in the not too distant future. W. Ford says, so is it worth $50? Oh, that is going to be up to you. I will say from what I saw inside, there's a lot packed in here. There's a lot of cards, and it looks like it's a lot of cards that like monsters and magic gear and stuff like that. That's probably beyond what's in those adventure booklets. So kind of cool there too. Mehmet says they've moved on from D&D, but this does look pretty solid. Max Apocalypse says, I will always hope that D&D comes around. I root for Dungeons and Dragons. I've got nothing against the people at Wizards of the Coast. It's kind of funny. I'm going to take a guess. There's probably going to be somebody in the comment section who's going to say, Jeff said he would never share anything from Wizards of the Coast again, which is not what I ever said. Because I've had other people say that when I was sharing coverage of the core books, which I actually purchased myself in order to share coverage with you, because I know a lot of folks out there who follow the Gaming Gang wanted to know my take on the not new Dungeons and Dragons. So I went out and I purchased the books. They were not review copies. And I had people comment, oh, you said you'd never cover D&D again. I was like, no, I said that Wizards of the Coast, which was actually their PR company they utilized, weren't sending me things anymore. So you weren't going to see coverage because they didn't appreciate my take on a lot of the D&D stuff. So it's like, okay. I never said I wouldn't cover it. And yes, keep in mind, the starter set was sent to me as a review copy from Wizards of the Coast. So this is a review copy because they've got a new PR company working for them. So, all right. Max Apocalypse says those people are from the mental multiverse. Well, it's kind of funny. The one thing that frosts my ass to no end is if somebody tries to put words into my mouth, because I remember what I said. I'm also pretty good at remembering what other people have said. And when somebody said, oh no, Jeff, you said this, it's like, I did not say that. Drives me nuts if somebody's going to argue with me what I've said and what I haven't said. W. Forge says this reminds them of the Savage Worlds box sets with bennies and cards included. Little bit smaller, little less included, but also keep in mind those Savage Worlds box sets start at like $100 and go from there. Some are $120, some are $130. But yes, the Pinnacle Entertainment Group box sets are nice, as Kevin King has pointed out as well. So what's cooking the rest of this week? And I actually already have next week's shows planned as well. We are going to take a look at the Castles and Crusades starter set from Troll Lord Games on tomorrow's show. Yes, as I mentioned, if you tuned in later, I pointed out that I did get a package from Troll Lord Games with a few items, including the starter set. So we're going to be talking about that. Sassy Trekkie with an Australian $2.99 super chat. Says, Jeff, you sold out. Ass frosting sounds bad. Well, it means that, you know, it's pissing you off. That's what frosting your ass means. Madman says they just backed the latest Savage Worlds Kickstarter today. We have news coming on that tomorrow. And then Thursday, we're actually going to take a look at the collector's edition of the High Elf Player's Guide for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. How's about that? So I was really surprised. They sent me the collector's edition. I was like, wow, this looks pretty cool too. And then next week, it is going to be a Cubicle 7 Games Week. In fact, it's going to be an Imperium Maledictum week because we are going to take first looks at a trio of new releases for Imperium Maledictum. Speaking of Cubicle 7 games, I did share my first look at Warhammer Fantasy, or no, I'm sorry, I should take that back. It's Warhammer 4000 Roleplay, Wrath and Glory, Darktide Extraction. It's not a review, just first look. So I shared that. I actually shared a few first look videos and a review. I'll talk about that in just a moment. Kevin King says they're going to have to check out the Castles and Crusades starter set on Memorex. Is there a gaming tomorrow? Well, enjoy. Shazam85 asks, which edition of D&D is Castles and Crusades starter set most like? Well, Castles and Crusades is its own thing. But I will say it is very easy to port over adventures from AD&D second edition D&D and third edition D&D. 3.5 starts to get trickier as far as the conversion, but the earlier editions, really simple to make your own. But yes, as far as Castles and Crusades, it is not, well, okay, so it's built on D20, obviously, but it's not similar in mechanics to first edition or second edition. So we'll dive in. We'll take a look at it. We'll probably take a bit more an in-depth, I should say, look at the books inside. Because I think this has, I think it's, if I remember right, it's 3 booklets. So we'll take a deeper dive than we did into the D&D starter set. Because remember, as I mentioned, Wizards of the Coast is not too keen on too many unobscured views of their game books. So Max Apocalypse says CNC was a nice D&D Rosetta Stone when it came out. Yeah, kind of. All right. So like I said, that's what we got coming up the rest of this week and then actually into next week. That's it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know, well, it's supposed to let you know, but I guess I find out from a lot of people you don't get the notifications, but you can keep trying. Just hit that bell. I don't know. But it'll also supposedly inform you when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Call of Cthulhu, the Sutra of Pale Leaves, Carcosa Manifest from Sons of the Singularity and Chaosium Inc. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news or unboxing a game, flipping through a book, what have you. But of course, a lot of folks out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. I know. Blows my mind when I say that every time. 2,300 plus. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Hopefully you'll pop on in tomorrow to take a first look at the Castles and Crusades starter set. And as always, I hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.